What's up everyone, my name is Nar and welcome to the third ever video on my channel Play Lion Chess. In case you missed my first couple of videos, I'm a YouTuber and streamer focused on improving my game of chess, and I'm really excited to be sharing with you all of the different training techniques that I use to improve at the game. In the first couple sessions, I started off with a couple different training techniques that I use. The first one was blitz training, which was basically playing a game that's about 5 minutes long. You have 5 minutes to make all your moves, and once you're done, just analyzing what happened. And this is super simple. Just learning how to get a feel for the game and learning from your mistakes. In the second session, I did a variant of chess called Chess 960, and this is a variant where all the pieces in the beginning are jumbled up. So you essentially throw out all of the opening prep and you focus solely on the harmonization of your pieces as well as formulating a plan in the position. Today I'm going to be focusing not only on a different training technique, but also an entirely different area of the game altogether. I'm going to be solving chess puzzles, which are also called tactics, or as I like to call them, tic-tacs. I'm going to be solving a bunch of chess puzzles on lichess.org, and the way that you can think about this in terms of a metaphor or analogy is this is like lifting weights. It's lifting weights for your mind. And the way that tactics are really good is it forces you to visualize the board and calculate a bunch of different variations in a position, and really evaluate at the end of those visualizations in your mind what the final evaluation of the position is, and to ultimately come up with the right move to play. I love tactics. I think they're a really, really good tool to train and to get better. There's actually a famous saying that chess is 90 to 95% tactics. And I would say that that is kind of a true statement, yes and no. It's definitely the case that at the very start of chess, at the start of your improvement process, very early on, most games are decided by some decisive blunder or mistake that costs you the game, and tactics are the sole culprit of the win or the loss. But I would say as you get better over time, not every position is immediately determined by some tactic, but more so it's kind of behind the scenes, and tactics are always there in the background. A lot of positions don't necessarily feature the tactics at the forefront. It's more about formulating a plan, but tactics will creep up at some point in the game, more likely than not. So I do think that doing tactics will put you in a good position when you reach that point where there's a lot of calculation required in a position. You won't be kind of thrown in the deep end. You will have some practice with it. The other thing I will say is tactics are an extremely fun part of the game for me, especially. I think that tactics are some of the most fun things that you can do in chess, because it's really fun to calculate all the different variations and see where they go, but it's all in your mind. So having all this in your mind and then being able to show even some subset of that over the board in an actual game, I think is fantastic, and it really makes you feel like a boss when you can pull this off over the board. So that's my general spiel, and I definitely think that if you do find a part of a game or part of whatever hobby it is that you do that you love, you should definitely try to do more of that, because yes, you should improve at the areas that you're weak, but in order to build a sustainable relationship with your hobby, you need to be able to focus in on the things that you love and really do more of them. And that is the way that you're going to kind of continue to stay motivated and love the game. So for me, tactics are definitely one of those things, and that's kind of my general spiel about why I'm doing tactics today. With all that said, we can get right to it. I like to keep these sessions fun, and I'm going to be playing a lot of music in the background as well. But I'll also say that as for these puzzles, I'm going to be solving them on lichess.org. They have a fantastic puzzle tool that I'm going to be using to solve the puzzles. I'm going to start off with some puzzles at the lower end because I'm starting off brand new. So I'm going to be getting some lower rated puzzles, but over time, let's see how high we can get this rating. Maybe we can even get it to something relatively high even in this one session today. Cool, so let's get right to it. Let me know in the chat if you have your own thoughts on this position. I'm going to do my best to try to analyze the positions myself so that I'm kind of helping focus on my own improvement as well. But do work with me in the tactics section, in the comment section, because working through stuff on your own is going to help a lot. Okay, so let's get right to this first position. In this position, I would say that let's first start with the material. So I have 6 pawns to my opponent's 6. Equal number of minor pieces. So 3 minor pieces to 3 minor pieces, there is a imbalance in terms of which minor pieces exist. Black has a light square bishop right here, and white instead of that has a knight. So that's the general material imbalance. As for other things, pawn structure, here black's pawn structure, let me get rid of all these others. Black's pawn structure is a little bit ruined right here. So yeah, let's identify that as a potential point to watch out for. And then other than that, yeah, I think those are the big ones. In terms of king safety, black is maybe a little bit more exposed. White has 3 pawns to shelter him, and black is missing this pf pawn that would normally help block the king on this diagonal. So with all that said, I think the move in the position that calls to me is this one, because it's delivering a check and it's also threatening to win this piece. But without judgment, let's just go through our process just for the sake of demonstrating it, if no other purpose. So let's consider all the candidate moves. So let's start with the checks. The checks include queen here and queen here. Those both attack the king. As for captures, what do I see? I see this move as a capture. I see this move as a capture. I see this move as a capture. And then for moves with threats, I would say I don't see anything right off the top of my head. Okay, this rook move here and this rook move here both threaten this bishop. So it would be basically weak and vulnerable. So all of those are the candidate moves. And let's start with the one that we think is the most plausible first, just so that we have less work to do in case that it actually works. Okay, so that would be this move, because I'm attacking here and I'm attacking here. In response to a check, black can either move the king away, he can either block it, or he can capture the queen. There's no way for him to capture the queen because nothing attacks the queen. So I don't see any reason that this would not work. Let's say you play this, he moves away with the king, and then I capture this piece, and there's nothing immediate he can do to exploit the fact that my queen is on the square now, my bishop is loose. I think this has to be it, so let's go in for it. Cool. Yeah, so this was my first tactic, and so my rating is going to be super volatile to start, so I gained 300 points for this. Okay, thanks for the feedback on the music in the chat. I'll lower it a little bit more. Yeah, just let me know, yeah, if at any point it's too loud. But cool, we're 1 for 1 so far, so good start on the tactics. All right, let's go with our framework again in this tactic puzzle. So right off the bat, what am I noticing? I'm noticing that black has this bishop, and white doesn't have a bishop, but maybe we have a bunch of pawns for it. We have 5 pawns here, and black has 5 pawns as well. So in terms of material imbalance, we are down a whole bishop. So in order for this tactic to pay fruits, we can't just win some material back. It's not enough to win just this bishop back, I think. I think the tactic would require us to deliver a checkmate on our opponent, or something of that nature. So let's think of candidate moves, checks, and captures first. So this is a check right here to the opponent king, and this is also a check here. And I think as far as checks are concerned, that's all. For captures, I see this one, the queen capturing this rook, which we've already identified, and that should be it. In terms of threats, we can threaten a few different things. We can threaten this queen right here by putting the rook here and attacking the queen. And we can also play, I think that's everything actually, really, in terms of threats. There's no way to attack this guy, this bishop right here, or either of these pawns, because they're defended and they're not yet attacked by any of my pieces. So in terms of the answer to this position, the one that's screaming out to me to be played is rook over here, because I am attacking the queen, and the queen cannot move out of the way because it's pinned to the king. So oops, like you can't move it. You are looking like you're just going to lose a queen here, a queen for a rook, and we all know that like a queen is worth much more than a rook. So in this position, I think this would be decisive. Let's not just jump to it yet, because there may be some checkmating possibilities in this puzzle. Notably with this move, this is the other forcing move. I don't really see anything paying out here. This is just losing a queen for a rook for no reason. This is losing a bishop for a rook for no reason. Sorry, I do hear the echo now. I'm not sure what that is. Yeah, I think there's something going on in the background. Let's get rid of it. Tell me if this is any better. Yeah, I think there was some. I think it was myself on Twitch in the background. So yeah, that's a bit of a head scratcher there for a while. But yeah, I think that should fix it. Let me know in the chat if you find it to be better now. Okay, let's get right to it. So I think we were calculating this one since it was the next promising idea. Queen there, and I don't really see a good purpose to that move because I think black could respond with either rook doubling back or even getting the queen out of the way, and now this rook threat over here would not be anything because the king could just sidestep, and the queen taking here is not a threat because the rook can take it back. So I know that's a lot, but let's just quickly identify what I'm saying again. Queen here to defend the check and also get out of this like rook to f6 threat. Now if the rook comes over, the king can sidestep, and I take the queen that's here, and then he can take it back, and he's just up a queen bishop, so not much there. I'm going to go ahead and play this move because I think it's Yep, and cool. Gained another 80 points, so we're about 2,000 now, maybe a little less. Let's keep it going. Okay, I'm going to maybe do a couple more, and then we'll take a little bit of a mental pause, and we can talk about random stuff. I do, like I said, I want to keep this kind of loose, so I'll talk about a lot of things. I'm a big sports fan. I love music. I love shows on TV and movies. So, yeah, just generally want to talk with you about some stuff out there. Yeah, just keep this light because I also do need some mental pauses in this. I've only done 2 tactics, but let's give it a break after maybe 4 or 5 just to keep the stream fun and interesting for you guys. Cool, yeah, let me know also if you are able to keep up with these tactics at home, how you're doing. Are you guys killing it out there with 2 of 2 so far? Do let me know, yeah, for sure. Cool, let's get to it. So this one, let's see what we got. We have 4 minor pieces. Black also has 4 minor pieces, so we're equal there. Black has 2 rooks. I have 2 rooks. And I have a queen, they have a queen. And as for pawns, we have 8 pawns on the board, and black also has 8 pawns on the board. So I think all the materials equal, yeah. And then in terms of king safety, both of our kings look relatively safe. In fact, I would actually give black maybe the option for the safer king. He can go whichever way he wants, and he's just 1 move away from castling. Whereas I am 1 move away from castling this way, queenside, but the problem is, if I go that way, black has the opportunity to rip open the position with moves like this, and I would feel very, very uncomfortable there. Yeah, it's like a king that's just been stripped of his shelter, so that is not something I'm super excited about in this position. As for going the other way, I am 1-2 moves away from getting castled. So my king is slightly less safer, meaning that I don't think I'm going to be delivering some checkmate in this position. I think the move would be related to capturing some material in this position. So let's take a look. The other point is, yeah, like weak squares in the position is another thing that screams out to me here. There's this really weak squares because black's dark square bishop is way, way outside, and these squares are already controlled by some of my pieces, right? This bishop is eyeing down both of these, and my knight is ready to jump in here. That being said, I don't think there's a way to immediately exploit it because there's some concrete threats already. So let's look at what black's threats are, and maybe we can address them. So first we have, let's say if it was black to move, what would he do? I think he would take here, and if I capture back, he captures, and oops, I'm forked. My rook and king are both attacked, and I gotta do something about that. Yeah, so I have to deal with this fork threat. I think right now, I don't have a choice. So I have to consider the options, right? Okay, let's start with the process that we're talking about. There's no way for me to check him in this position. None of my pieces can even get remotely close to him. As for captures and stuff, yeah, there's this capture right here. This capture right here. This capture right here is not legal. I should take that back because my knight is pinned to my king. Same with this capture right here. And as for moves with threats, I could think about this one attacking his bishop. Sorry, let me get rid of these arrows just to not clutter. And threats. So I think if I move this rook away, either to here or somewhere along this first rank, I am now threatening to take this. And yeah, that's a threat. So we can stop there and we could say candidate moves are here, 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 and here. Okay, so that's the general thought. Alright, where do we start? I think the most forcing move that I would consider, the one that seems most likely to be working, is queen takes here. And why do I say that? Well, first of all, this is a bishop that's attacked twice by my pieces. And the reason I'm not considering this one first, this pawn capture, is because if I capture that way, he would take my rook, and well, I would have given up a rook for a bishop, and I'm definitely worse off in that situation. So that's why I want to consider queen takes here. And the only thing is like, okay, my queen and my king are a knight fork away from destroying my position. So imagine if a knight landed right here, he would destroy me. He would fork me with my king and rook, and I would be toast. Yeah. But I don't see a way that he can get his knight from there to there. It's literally not possible in this position. So that's why this move seems to not be failing to anything immediately. I should also say I missed this in my initial judgment. It's something to consider, bishop here. I am attacking the queen, but I don't see any reason to play that. He could just take here with check, and once I take back, he'll just win this bishop for free. So yeah, it's just a little oversight. I think fitting into my whole methodological approach here, I think, yeah, it's not good to miss things like this, but I think in this case I lucked out that I don't think it's like a really important move to consider. Okay, so this is the main move. I don't see a reason it won't work. And I do also notice that this renews the threat of taking here because now I've moved my rook away from here. But unfortunately it falls to bishop captures here, and he has avoided losing this bishop. So I'm going to just, yeah, I'm going to take this. I think it works. Okay, cool. Yeah, this is definitely a lot slower than you would do tactics normally. I do also want to emphasize that you won't always have this much time to just like sit and luxuriously think about the position. I will definitely in the future also do tactic sessions where I'm focused on speed, and those are a lot more fun. It's kind of just like boom, 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 just doing a bunch of tactics in a row. This is a totally different goal here, though, which is let's get the process down and let's focus on getting the process right. Okay, cool. One more, and then we can just take a brief hiatus to talk about stuff. Let me know how you're going out there. Yeah, if you're keeping up with stuff or not. So this one looks like there's a lot more going on. My king looks like it's on fire. That's my first thought, right? There's like so many pieces breathing down my throat, and all my pieces are hanging right now. This knight is attacked by both this knight and this rook immediately. His king doesn't look like it has any problems. And before we get too far into like thinking about candidate moves, the material imbalance. He has 2 rooks. I have 2 rooks. I have 1, 2, 3 minor pieces, and he has 1, 2, 3 as well. Pawns, quickly, let's do a count. 7 pawns to 5 for me, so I'm down 2 pawns, and my king is getting destroyed. This seems like one of those games where, yeah, just like if I don't have something immediately, I'm literally gonna lose this game, no question about it. So let's start with the candidates. Yeah, candidates being checks, captures, threats. So let's look at checks. No way for me to get at this king. Nothing of mine is even remotely close to his king. So yeah, I don't see anything there. Let's go for captures. There's a few in this position. I've got this capture here, this capture, and this capture, as well as this capture right here. So what do I want to look at? I'll first say that this is not good. There's no way it can be good. He just captures back, and I gave up a rook for a knight for no reasons. What else? Knight here could work. Yeah, we'll reserve our judgment on that. This one I can say is immediately bad because he just captures back, and what have I gained? I'm just down 2 pawns, and my king is stripped bare for no reason whatsoever. Okay, what else do we got? We got this guy, capture here. And that seems nice, yeah? I'm just winning a rook for nothing. Okay, I mean, he can take this knight back, and he gets a knight for the rook. seems like that is the most promising that I've considered so far. But let's give this guy a look as well. Knight takes. What can he do? He can capture here, or he can capture rook take this pawn. And it's unclear, yeah? If I take here and he wins a third pawn, that's not necessarily a good state of the world, because now he has 3 pawns for the piece, and I have a vulnerable king, whereas he has no such thing. So my initial inclination is to capture here, and I don't see anything other than... Okay, here is where it gets a little bit more messy. Yeah, he can either capture this knight, in which case I take back, and he takes back, and then I have clearly won a rook for a knight, which I'm happy for. I've won a rook for a knight, and then I've also traded this bishop for this knight right here, which I'm happy with that. But if I capture here, there is another possibility that he can play knight to this square, and that's forking my rook, yeah? So this is something to calculate. If he does that, then what do I do? My candidate moves in that position would be to capture this knight. Now it's no longer defended by anything because this knight is moved and this rook is gone. So if I capture that knight, he would capture my rook down here, and I would have basically won a rook and a knight for a... How do we see it? I won a rook and a knight for just a rook, yeah. So I think that works as well. Yeah, so let's just calculate this, get our mind straight. It's a bit mind warpy, yeah. So I take it, knight here. I capture here, and then he captures here. I have won, yeah, exactly. I've won a rook and a knight for just a rook. So I think this is gonna work. Okay, so this is not the answer. Before we get right into the solution, let's see what we could have missed. There's probably something in the position that we didn't give fair consideration. What could be wrong with bishop takes here? Okay. Potentially there's a chance for him to give a check, but I don't really see how that helped him either. He just lost the rook and he isn't winning any material back immediately. But if I take, let's see. Knight takes, bishop takes, rook takes. Basically, all of these 3 pieces right here are gone, and this one too. Not sure. Maybe there's something more incisive, because that doesn't, it doesn't look immediately bad to me. So perhaps it's a move like this. It's a threat. Yeah, we're threatening this rook, and if the rook were to move away, I don't see a good answer. Yeah, I mean he just takes this pawn for free. So okay, yeah, let's view the solution. I'm a bit stumped. So knight takes there, and yeah, I did look at this line, and I thought that he would be able to capture this pawn right here. But maybe this is just good for... Oh, sorry, not with that rook, because this rook is hanging right here. So take this way. Okay, this is something interesting. If I take with this bishop right here, he cannot take with the rook because the knight is protecting that square. And if he takes with the pawn, I do have a little bit of a funny move here, which is knight back to the first rank, attacking both of these rooks. And I will win the exchange. I'll win the rook for the knight. So this is very good for me. But he's not able to play that. What if he just does the normal move, which is capture here? Then I would capture here, and I would get that rook anyway. Okay, so that makes sense. All of that makes sense for why this move is good. But what's wrong with this capture right here? Let's give it a look. Okay, so this is basically just an equal position. If I take here, and at the end of it, I have... Yeah, I guess this is something to consider, right? He has a knight for a rook, but then he also has the 2 pawns extra. So this is maybe not something that's that great. Whereas the other one, if you think about what happens here, I just win this knight for free, basically. And if he captures it, well then it's even worse for him because I win a rook now. And now I'm up a rook for this knight, but I also have this bishop standing. So I'm not even down enough. Okay, so that's something. So I do agree, this is a tricky one. A lot of stuff going on. Yeah, let me know how you guys are doing with these as well. Yeah, definitely curious to see if any of you are outscoring me so far, 5-0 maybe. But yeah, this one was a stumping one. Definitely hard tactic so far. Got a rating of about 2,000. But yeah, just wanted to take a mental break and give myself a chance to also talk about some stuff that's been on my mind. Yeah, I'm definitely like super excited with all the sports that are going on out there. Let me know if you're a sports fan out there. I'm myself a big sports fan. Huge fan of the NBA. I love watching the league, and I'm pretty happy that sports are back on in general. Like, I'm a big fan of the NBA in particular, but also just I love team sports and competitive stuff in general. Like, that's kind of why I'm a big fan of chess, and it kind of unifies a lot of the things that I love. So yeah, definitely pretty excited about what's been happening with the Denver Nuggets. Man, we got to talk about that. They came back from down 3-1 against the Utah Jazz, and also did the same against the Clippers with 3 comeback wins in all their elimination games with down double digits at halftime. Pretty exciting stuff. So definitely pretty hyped on that. Also, yeah, this might be the only time I'll ever mention this, but pretty happy for my local hockey team, the Dallas Stars, are in the Stanley Cup Finals. So that's pretty exciting. Yeah, I'm not really a hockey guy out there at all, but definitely be happy to see a Dallas team bring home a championship in 2020. Some saving grace for the year, yeah. Yeah, in general, just like glad to hear that you love sports out there too. In general, yeah, just sports are one of the coolest things out there right now. Definitely pretty hyped on it, and excited to see what happens with the rest of this season. It's definitely one of those like perfect setups for a bunch of upsets. So I think if you love watching Cinderella stories, if you love watching just like people who really shouldn't be there and do really good stuff, then this season is honestly fantastic. So let me know if any of you like sports out there. I'm always down to talk and debate about random stuff. So okay, cool. A little bit of a mental break there, and we can kind of refocus back in and play some more tactics. Cool. So this is one that, yeah, I wouldn't say like stings or anything, but definitely I missed a few key details here, especially with this like knight fork at the end that would win this, and also I misjudged um, the move that I had played. It is a good move in the sense that it brings the game to equality when you might seem like things are on fire, but really I should have looked for more. Yeah, there's always potential. If you see a good move, look for a better one. That's the that's the cliche. Yeah, like I sometimes cliches work, and in this case, it's one of those cases where you see a good move, just look for a better one. So okay, let's go on. I feel my rating may be stabilizing a bit too. Yeah, the first one I went up 400 points. You're never gonna see ever again me go up or down 400 points with one puzzle. I had to solve like I don't know, like 4,000 rated puzzle. I don't even know what that means. It's like, what is the first move in chess? What's the best first move in chess? That's like a 4,000 rated puzzle. I don't know. But yeah, it definitely feels like it's stabilizing. So cool. Let's get to this one. Okay, what do we got here? We have 4 minor pieces for me and 4 minor pieces for my opponent. 2 rooks for both of us, and a queen apiece. As for the pawns, we have 8 pawns on our side, and they also have 8 pawns. Funnily enough, none of these pawns have even come to conflict with each other. They're not even threatening each other. Black has gone for a very like passive setup, where he has now put his pawns in squares that control the main 4 central square. So that's the future of the position, and his bishop is way out. So he is a little bit, how would I say this? He feels like he's stranded away from home. He likes being outside of his pawn chain, but if he could be taken, right? If he could be pushed in a way that threatens him, he could get trapped very easily. Okay, so that's the general gist. As for king safety, I don't really see it. Yeah, both kings seem relatively safe. If anything, like there's some potential in the future for some break here and some, I don't know, coordination on this square. But all my pieces are not really suited for that. This pawn blocks my queen from coming out. This knight, not really in this ideal square for an attack. It would want to be here so that it could jump to this square and threaten here. Oh, what are you talking about in the chat? What was the wild thing that you're referring to? I'm guessing the Denver Nuggets game. I mean, I think that's just like literally insane. You can't make this stuff up, right? Down 19 in one game, down 16 in the other, down 12. Super hyped to see what they can do against the Lakers in the conference finals. But yeah, let's get back to the position. King safety, like I said, yeah, my king feels kind of more scared than his king because this diagonal feels really airy. These pawns have gone a little too far, and so there's some weaknesses. But I wouldn't say I'm like super scared yet because his pieces are all in pretty passive positions. So yeah, let's think about what we can do here. Is there a way to trap this bishop? I don't see it because I can't put anything on this square to basically say I will not trade my piece for your piece. I'm gonna win your piece. There's no way for me to put a piece there. Sorry, a pawn there. I can put a piece there, but okay, no matter. He'll just take it if he really has to. And I wouldn't have won any material. So I don't see that. I don't see any checkmate to their king. Literally, there's no way I can give a check, not even remotely close again. So it's not going to be a check. Let's consider captures. I do see one capture in this position, and nothing else. No other captures. Yeah, as I mentioned, this is a position where there's not a lot of conflict. These are like two pacifists. This is like what happens when a pacifist comes to play chess. They don't put their pawns in central squares to take control over the center and fight for their stake. They're just like, okay, I'm going to let you run you over in a slow way, which is the best kind of opponent. Okay, so yeah, let's look at threats, I guess. This is a threat. It attacks this knight. This is a threat. It attacks this knight. Somehow I'm less convinced that maybe moving these pawns will do anything immediately. You can always, if I push this pawn, move this knight away. And if I move this pawn up, you can just, I don't know, move this knight away. So I don't really see it. But as for this capture, I am very attracted to it because he draws his knight out, and my queen can then come to a very aggressive square, attacking his king, also attacking this knight. He has no choice, but after capture, and queen out, he has to come back with the knight. But then I have this chance to play d5, and why would I be interested in this move? Basically, he is, right now, for the time being, not castled. This knight is pinned to his king, and so if I play d5, I'm basically attacking this knight and saying, haha, knight, you don't have anywhere to move, I'm going to win you on the knight. So let's just give this a look. Take, here. Nothing else will save this knight. There's no way for him to move his king or block without losing his knight, so he has to go back. And then d5, and I don't see anything he can do. He can prolong maybe losing this knight by attacking my queen for a second, but yeah, it's fool's gold. So let's go for it. And yeah, let's do it. I think this should work. Cool. So that one was nice. Okay, let's do another one. This one, we have two minor pieces, white's two minor pieces, two rooks, 5 pawns against 6, so I'm down a pawn. Also, my pawns are, the extra pawn that he has is felt in the position. He has this b pawn, which I don't have, and really makes my pawns feel super airy over here. They're basically just like targets, right? It's like target practice. You can just target this one, which he has with this last stroke move. He's targeting this pawn. And if I don't do something quick, well then I am a donkey. Okay, let's go with the framework. Thanks for the encouragement. Yeah, well played. Thanks. And okay, the aggressive move. Yeah, the process here. We gotta trust the process. Like the Philadelphia 76ers. Gotta give checks. You gotta give moves with threats, moves that are captures. So let's start with the checks in the position. There's only 2 that I can see, which is this check and this check. Okay, they're both pretty like dumb moves, I would say. Like they don't do anything. Okay, maybe this one is not the stupidest move in the position. You're trading rooks, and then I guess at the end of it, you're somehow maybe you can think you're threatening this pawn. But what have you really accomplished? You've traded off your most active piece, this rook, and have basically accentuated your weak pawns here by reducing the amount of chances that you have to play for anything. So that's nonsense, I would say. This one is extremely nonsense because you can just take it, and there's no good follow-up. Other moves, let's see. Well, you do see some kind of merit in this because, like, look, it would attack these two pieces. And that leads me to think about, can we somehow preface this move with another threat, another move that's forcing? And immediately my attention is drawn to this threat move. First of all, okay, let's just maybe go with the process. The only other capture I see is this one, and you can just take back and he hasn't accomplished anything. So on threats, I see threats like this, and this one. This one I don't see as anything because you can just take it. And once again, we have given up one of our strengths, the bishop pair, for nothing really in return. And how about the other one? This one is also equally silly, I think you can just take. So what else do we got? We got this one, I guess, is also a threat, but barely a threat, I guess. There's no way that we're like coordinating on this square. But okay, I gotta say that the most aggressive move in this position is this one for sure. Attacking this pawn, this bishop. Also this pawn, so there's some idea of this. And because the rook has come to such an aggressive square up here, we do have some idea of now supporting this bishop here. So I think this is the move. And let's just calculate some of the possibilities. So let's say he does the obvious, which is to save this bishop. I don't think there's anything really else for him to consider. Some knight move here is not working because I just captured. But let's go with this. And if he does, let's see, bishop here or here or here, I think really they're all pretty similar in my mind. So let's just calculate one and stick with that. I don't see any major differences. So the less calculating you can do, the better. I guess what I will say is the bishop is unprotected here. So let's try to do the best thing for our opponent and put it on a square that's guarded by the rook. So either here or here. Okay, so let's get to it. This one, we move the bishop, let's say here. And then what do we got? What's the kicker, yeah? I think bishop here can be met by king here. And I don't have time immediately to go take this rook because he can take my rook. And I don't think I've accomplished anything. So rook here, bishop here, runs into king here. Now, we said bishop takes is not really anything serious, but how about something else? Is there something I can do, like moving this rook over, capturing a pawn maybe is nice? Or alternatively, moving this rook over here to defend this rook, and now this is a serious threat up here of taking this rook. So let's give it a look. Rook here, bishop back, bishop here, king here, and rook here. He has to move the rook somewhere. Let's say maybe here. And what's my follow-up? It's not clear that I see him, yeah? It's a position where his pieces feel kind of loose, but I don't see a decisive blow. So let's maybe go back to the drawing board here. If I go rook here, he sidesteps with the bishop. Maybe we can target this pawn. Maybe it is the real vulnerability of this position. He played bishop here, and yeah, I literally don't see a way for him to defend this pawn. He can move it up 1 or 2 squares, but he's only removing shelter from his own king. And maybe once you force him to weaken his king a little bit, stuff like this becomes more potent because there's some checkmating threat in the position as well. So I'm going to go with this. I think there's enough reason to do it. Okay, so in this position he's capturing this piece. We do have 2 options now. Basically this is saying to me that, yeah, there's no way to somehow protect this bishop in a sensible or sane way, so he has to go kind of crazy. And I can either take this rook or I can take this bishop. If I take this bishop, he can just go away with his rook, and seems like no harm, no foul. So I gotta take it. It's the principal move. And that's the end of the puzzle. Even though we got it right, let's take a look at this. Is there anything that we could do if he just moves this bishop away? Was our plan correct? Was it right to play bishop here? Okay, there's something even more forcing, which is to try and misplace this rook what is the idea? Okay, it's clever, it's clever. If he moves the rook off of this first rank, I can now come here and I can win this piece by force. And yeah, it's nice to somehow attack his king, but also winning a piece by force is nice. But if he stays on the first rank, what can we do? What can we do? We can now come back here and we can say you have taken a square away from your king, and any checkmating threat now, basically you are forced to kind of move this guy away to give your king some breathing space, because you don't. The last thing you want is to play some dummy move here. Let's just put some dummy move, and to allow my rook to come in here, and this configuration with this rook right here and this bishop here staring down your throat is extremely dangerous. Like, I can just basically go around like a vacuum cleaner with this rook. I can do whatever I want with this rook, and I can always just keep coming back. And yeah, maybe there's not something direct that I can just, like, you know, hit him with right off the bat, but not some position that you want to be in. Also, there is some, I think the like idea in the position is if you can somehow manufacture your rook to this square right now, you would give a checkmate. So if you put your bishop right here, and then you come with some idea, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go here, and that's checkmate. So in order to defend against this, he already has to start giving up a lot of material. So very, very clever solution here where you misplace this rook. I think it's a pretty cool idea. But okay, let's look at my variation for a second. Is there anything horrible about just going in for this right away? No, it's still good. It's just not the most incisive. And yeah, I think there's something to be learned from this for sure. Cool, let's go on. Big brain tactics are the best kind of tactics, right? When you can hit your opponent in an actual game with a tactic that is just like super, super big brain. You just like pull it out of nowhere. You're like, oh my god, I'm gonna win a piece out of nowhere, or checkmate your opponent's king. It's a great feeling, right? You just, I don't know, you feel like a boss. You can just sit back and be like, okay. Like you put on, it's like that meme where you have the sunglasses and it's like, deal with it. I think that's exactly the feeling when you can hit your opponent with some tactic in game. And I definitely have some games where I have done some similar stuff, and I definitely, most certainly have games where people have done that to me. So I know how it feels on both ends, and let's just say it's more fun on one side than the other. So yeah, I think something that could be fun also is just taking a trip down memory lane at some point and maybe showing some of those games here, show you like the moments where I had big like brain farts in an actual game, or positions in which my opponent just walked into some like horrible attack, and yeah, I looked like Mikhail Tal, the world's greatest attacking chess player of all time. But yeah, really, it's just kind of certain positions lend themselves very much to tactics, and not every position is like that. But the more you say you like tactics and you get better at them, you can strive for these positions. You can work on openings that lead to more tactical positions, and essentially push the game in a direction where you want to. There's this like really cool quote that I know of. It's I think the opening is some kind of like long and winding road in a dark forest where there's enough room for only one person, and essentially you want to be the one navigating on this road. You want to basically push the other person off, like a NASCAR race driver or something, push them off, and you want to be the one controlling what's happening and controlling the shots. So exactly, like that's what I'm saying, kind of find stuff in your chess game that will allow you to get the positions that suit you best. And if tactics are that, then yeah, definitely play positions that are rich in tactics. Okay, that's enough of a rant. Yeah, it'll be my little bit of a rant for now, and we can go back into this one. So this one is, oh, also the good thing I should note is there's no timer on this, so I'm just like, yeah, just talking about the position to no end, and just trying to find the best move, focused on quality rather than speed today. So cool, let's get to it. This position, yeah, I'm toast if I don't find something immediately, because I have 3 pawns and this dude has 6 pawns, so I gotta find something immediately. Other materials all equal, so nothing to write home about there. Basically I have nothing to show for these 3 pawns, except I have this rook in a beautiful place, attacking the second rank. If you can get your rook down here, yeah, he's a beast. And the other point is, this king feels a little bit Right now it feels kind of secure with these 3 pawns, but I guarantee you if this structure starts to break down here and he has to make some weakening moves, then he's really going to find it hard to not get mated right on the spot. That's my thoughts on the position. What about other stuff? That's basically it. My king is kind of weak as well, in the sense that this diagonal is really weak, and if this guy can have 2 moves to just go boom boom, and essentially say, I'm going to force you to trade this queen along this diagonal, yeah, there's no hope for survival in this position. Like, not a chance. You're down 3 pawns, and there's this famous saying that all rook endgames are drawn. It's kind of true in the sense that a lot of rook endgames are drawn, but those are specifically referring to 1 rook versus 1 rook. And also with 3 pawns up, I think even 1 rook on the board would be just so hard to salvage, because you can compensate for being down pawns in terms of activity, but what is activity when you're down 3 pawns, right? You can use that activity to maybe get 1 pawn back, but okay. Anyway, this is like a long rant, or sorry, tangent, not related to the position specifically, but basically let's do something immediately. Let's consider captures, checks, and threats. So we got captures right here. Captures. That's also a check. We got a check. Captures here and captures here. So let's rule some stuff out immediately. Rook. Rook here is nonsense because you can just take it. Rook here is nonsense because you can just take it and nothing has been doing. Queen takes here is nonsense because you can just take it. So nothing there. What about threats? Threats in the position. I could play. Well, there's nothing that can really get me to try to laser in on this square immediately, but I do have some other moves that generate threats. Namely, this move here generates a checkmating threat on the back rank. Right, his back rank is extremely vulnerable. He hasn't moved these pawns, so his king doesn't have a way to get off of this square. So let's say he did something random like this, then I can just go here, takes, and captures, and that's a GG. You can set up the pieces for the next game because it's over. What else do I got? You got rook f8. That threatens something here, puts some pressure. And last thing you would want to do is move this guy because then I can give some checkmate. Those are the threats. Additionally, this is a threat. It's threatening the same checkmate that we had over here. Somehow I like that a little bit less because, well, I shouldn't pass judgment on it just yet, but somehow it just feels like it's making this diagonal a little bit more vulnerable, like unprovoked. Yeah, we can get the same thing we want here. And he has no time to take something here at all because of this back rank threat that we have. So my serious moves to consider are here, 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 and here. So let's get started calculating. For a second I thought this was playing something like Calvin Harris, and I was like, that doesn't seem right because this music is all license free. So it's like a little tool that's called Pretzel Rocks. Really good for live streamers. If you are a live streamer out there and you want to play music on your stream, you don't want to run the risk of getting like a temporary or permanent ban from Twitch or having these people come after you. It's a great tool to use. Check it out. It's got a desktop app as well as a website. So I'm just kind of playing some music off of here. They have some selection of both songs with lyrics and songs without it. You can add a bunch of filters and check out all the different stations on your own time. But cool tool, yeah. Okay, so let's get right to the position. Yeah, let's. Where should I start? If you have an idea in the chat, let me know where you think I should start. Yeah, I'm just gonna start with the move that seems the most forcing, I guess, which is this rook takes. And on that rook takes, I am threatening something super serious. This checkmate right here on this g2 square. So I think he could maybe play with fire by moving this pawn, but I think the most principle is just to take back. So let's start there. What is the point of this? I think we've weakened his king, basically gotten the exact situation that we wanted, where the pawns in front of his king are gone. And after this, we can give a check. And if he moves the king, let's say back, that's the safest place in the board now, because the rest of this, you wouldn't want to go to center because it's just like, how do I say, like very exposed. There's no pawns, right? There's no pawns there, so he'd want to go back. But the good news for him is I don't see any great follow-up there. I don't see a way to get my rook and queen coordinated on this square, so let's put this one away for now. I don't think it's really working out. What else do we got? We got maybe rook f8. and I'm threatening a capture here, and this capture would be pretty devastating, I think, if it hits. Yeah, I don't really see how he can allow it. Like, if he takes rook here, and I take rook here, like, how are you avoiding me checkmating you? Or even, yeah, even I give the chance to give a draw, but I really probably have much more. I probably can just check him for eternity, but I have checkmate, so why would I bother that? There's this thing, I think these two rooks on the 7th rank are, like, literally the best configuration of pieces you can ever imagine. Like, yeah, there's no way he's coming back from that. So rook f8, I think he's kind of forced, his hand is forced to either play rook f1, because f3 or f4 would allow queen takes with checkmate. So it's gonna be there, get rid of these arrows. So I think rook f8, he has to play rook f1, and then do I have something like captures? And if he captures back, I can give this check. He has to double back, and maybe I can force a draw in this way. So I think this is cute. I think I found a way to get a draw. I'm not sure if this is some cheap tactic where it's like find the draw. It's not like find the win, it's find the draw. It's always a little bit like mind trippy when you don't know what exactly you're looking for here, but I think that's something. Yeah, we can put it in our back pocket, say we have a draw if we want, I think. But let's see what else we got, okay? We got rook here. It has a very clear threat, but does it amount to anything? I think you can just slide the king over, and he's covered this square, so I'm not giving checkmate just yet. Same thing really applies to queen here. You can just slide over, and yeah, unfortunately, I don't see anything there. So yeah, unfortunately, not some cute tactics there. So we gotta look for the cute tactics. I think the cute tactic here is, in fact, rook here, and he slides over, and then I'm like, I'm gonna expose your king for the sole purpose of you having to take back, and then I give you some annoyance here, and I just like irritate you. So let's go for it, yeah? Okay, this is not a thing, this is like always the worst feeling. You do something, and then your opponent plays a move you had no idea. Of course now my opponent is Stockfish 11, so he is pretty good at finding moves that I would not think of, but still kind of hurts, you know? Stockfish, why you gotta do this to me? Okay, so he plays here. I don't see any reason to avoid this. I think he has the opportunity to trade queens. He can play here, but he might just get mated, yeah? I can just take here, and then I'll just keep taking here, and then he's gonna really hurt. So let's do it. And the other point to note is he doesn't have some like queen here, because I can just take with the rook, and there goes your queen. Don't drop a queen, if you can, avoid it. Okay, so he moves the pawn up. If I take rook here, now I'm threatening queen takes, and seems pretty nice. Is there anything better? Okay, so in this position, check is immediately something that doesn't really resonate with me, but why not? I think this is a misstep in my mind, right? If I play that, I was thinking he can take, and I take, and he can take, and he's gained 2 rooks for my queen. It's not a good deal, in general. The 2 rooks are very, very nice, coordinated, and they're like beasts on the 7th rank. So why would I give them up? Well, the only reason is because at the time being, his king is on this g2 square, and his rook is here, and I do have a split second before he's coordinated to come here with the check and attack both the king and the rook. So I think this is the move, but rook takes here deserves some consideration because he can play here, and I think maybe I just have to bail out with the draw. Not seeing it. So I like this. I like this a lot. He's toast. He's toast. Look at that rating. Creeping up into the 2100s. Pretty nice. Yeah, this was a fun one. I like this one. I'm just wondering. I think there's something I missed. Maybe queen d5? I'm not sure why he was playing this. I thought he would be able to play this move, like, no problem. Like, don't worry about it. But, okay. There's some difference. Okay, this is really, really cool. I would have missed this. So I think if the tactic went down a different direction, I would have misunderstood. And it goes back to like if you see a good move, find a better one. You have the draw in the back pocket, but point is, if I take this way, I'm still threatening this checkmate right here. But if he gives me this capture now, I do have this additional opportunity to come here with check, and he can just block, which is anyway stupid. I'll just take it. But then he comes back, and then I'm giving checkmate. Basically, the difference is I control this file now. Whereas in the other one, I had a rook here, and it makes all the difference in the world which rook you take with. It might look nice to have two rooks on the second rank, but there's these mating ideas that are so pretty cool one. Yeah, this one was nice. I like it a lot. Let me know, by the way. Definitely let me know in the chat how it's going with you, whether you like it, and yeah, that sounds good. Also, let me know what you think of this music. This is my third session, third different type of music. I think I've done upbeat, and I've done some EDM. This is my first time synthwave. It's honestly sounds indistinguishable from the other two. All kind of sounds similar to me, but it's a different enough genre that it gets its own playlist on Pretzel Rock. So yeah. Alright, let's get to another one. This is pretty cool. This is a 2300 puzzle, so definitely some mental flexing required to get it. And yeah, the only thing I guess that dampens the mood here is that I missed this checkmate tactic. I was going to go for a draw if we went for this one, but there was more in the position. Okay, another new position. This one's more like close to the opening. By the way, I should say the cool thing about this, yeah, Lichess is pretty sick. This is like an entirely open source site. So built by people who are not working for a company, but they're literally just doing this for fun in their spare time because they're passionate about chess, they're passionate about development. I'm an engineer myself, so the engineer side of me also is kind of attracted to the idea of maybe one day building some feature for this site, which I use so much. It is fully open source, so you can. But what I do want to say about this is it's so cool that this puzzle section is basically created out of actual games. This is a position that arose in an actual game on Lichess, and it is how do I say? Like, this is an actual position in which a person made a mistake, and the computer is smart enough to say, okay, like this is somewhere where they could have improved. It's a mistake. Try your hand at it. Could you do better? And like I said, this one is 10 moves into the opening, so you know, always be on the eye for. Be on the lookout for opening, or sorry, be on the lookout for tactics even in the opening, because they could be there. Okay, so all that said, what do I think about this position? I am pretty happy about it. I'm castled. He is 2 moves away from it, so it doesn't seem like he is the safest position right now. What else? Material, I am 4 minor pieces to 4 minor pieces, and he has got 7 pawns to my 6, so that is in his favor. If I can count, right? I think I'm counting right. 3, 6, yeah, and he's got 7. So, okay, that's that. Rooks equal. This rook is kind of a dud right now. I mean, he's not doing anything. What is he doing? He's just staring at his own pieces. So that's why he needs to get castled like ASAP. Also, just to get his king to safer place. Okay, checks, captures. Let's go for it. You know the drill by now. Checks. We got this. We got this. What else we got? That should be it in terms of checks. I don't see anything else. What else? I think that's it. Yeah, that's all the checks. Let's look at captures. We have this capture right here. We have this one right here. And that's this one here as well. Okay. So let's just get rid of the dumb options as soon as possible, so we don't need to have 100 arrows on this board. This is pretty dumb. I don't think there's any reason to do it. He just takes back and he's up a piece. Same with this. No, it doesn't really do anything. If anything, it just opens his rook to the fray and makes it a more of a fighting piece. What else can we do? Bishop here, I'm not convinced by, because he can just take it with his knight, and then I capture it back, and what have I done? I've helped him somewhat consolidate, and I shouldn't say that actually. I shouldn't say that right off the bat because I do have my knight in this position now, and then I can give some check, which is enough to give this some serious consideration. What else? Knight takes here. Maybe I'm not fooled by either, because he can capture back and... Oh, sorry, I should totally consider this, because, in fact, let's consider it right off the bat, and let's remove this one from consideration, because queen here, he can just play bishop here, and he's shored up his main weakness right now, this diagonal where he's exposed, and he's that much closer to castling. He basically gets me to go away with tempo, and then now he's like one step closer to castling, unprovoked. So let's consider this guy. The reason I want to is because if he takes back, which is the natural move, I can come out with check, and it's the classic fourth. It's a huge tactic coming out of the opening where he is vulnerable, and I think his bishop just ends up at the wrong square at the wrong time. So I think I should win it. I don't see anything else. There's not much he can do once this check has been delivered. So only other possibility is if I take here, can he do something like queen here and somehow start some threats? But no, I can just move this knight away. I think it's worth it. Okay, let's do it. And the thing to note is there's no knight that can jump here and defend this piece. So that's normally in an opening you might have something like that, but remember, this is the knight that is here, that knight that I just traded off, so no such knight can come back. Cannot come back from the dead. Okay, cool. Castling is absolutely a waste of a tempo. Depends on the position. I love saying it. It's fun. It's fun saying castling is a waste of tempo. It sounds super, I don't know, like some brilliant insight. The greatest attacking players in there, if you look at their greatest games, there's a ton where they don't castle, but then also the guys that they are crushing like brutally on the other end, those are guys that didn't learn to castle. And so castling is nice. You tuck your king away, you're safe, but if you can win without castling, I think that makes you a real boss. Like you can say like this is a masterpiece if you checkmate and your king is sitting in the center. Like, wow, mad props. Yeah, this case he really paid for not castling earlier. He did some funny business in the center, was leaving his pieces on vulnerable squares, and yeah, had to pay for it. Okay, this is one of those classic puzzles. I'm immediately drawn to it. Basically, it's a normal configuration where this bishop, I can move my knight away, and I can defend my bishop right here. And at the same time, if he takes, I can take a bunch of times and give him, basically win a piece. That's my initial thought. I know that doesn't fit in with the framework, but it's also nice to talk about your instincts sometimes. Point is, like, the reason why take, I would want to take the knight instead of the queen is because, look, this knight is hanging. So let's take back and take back with the knight, bring him back to safety. So we are okay, and he's not going to lose himself in the middle of the board. But let's think about this from the framework. No checks. I am far from giving any checks. Captures. I have this one, which I already talked about. This one, and that's it for captures. For threats, I have this threat, and should be it, I think. Something like knight g5 is not even worth considering because both this pawn and this pawn are defended by this queen. The queen is defending this pawn, and then the knight is defending this pawn. So yeah, those are the candidate moves. Let's start with knight takes here. Doesn't leave a great impression, and the reason I'll say is because knight takes, he can take back with the rook, and if I do a material count after that, I can win this bishop here, but oh, no, maybe I should really consider it. I shouldn't take this one either running because it opens some threats here. But the thing is, if I do take knight there, he potentially can take bishop here right off the bat, and he's attacking it with a lot of pieces, and I don't think I have anything really to show for it. So let's consider other stuff. h3 seems not in the spirit of the position. You can just capture a bunch of times on f3, and probably he'll win some pawn. At worst, for me, he'll win a pawn. At best, like, there's no loose pieces in the air anymore, so I'm not going to consider this. Bishop takes, I won't really consider either because, I mean, what's the big deal? He just takes it back with the pawn. I don't really see the point. Really, just all signs pointing to knight takes here, and we have to calculate two different things. We've already calculated knight takes, bishop takes, knight takes back, and we have just won a piece for nothing, which is pretty good. If we can win a piece for nothing, do it. What else do we got? Knight takes here. He can take back, and he's threatening here. Also, he has won the piece back, which is nice. But I have this check here, and if he takes back, I take back, and I've won this piece. So I think this is it. Let's go for it. And we jump back. Cool. Alright, we're about to get to 2200. Let's see if we can do it, yeah? I can feel it. We're one tactic away from 2200. I don't have the count. Oh, I guess I do have it right here. So I guess my record on the day is 8-1. Definitely, yeah, slow session. I'm not trying to do a ton of speed tactics, but 10 tactics in about 45 minutes seems on the slower end for sure. But these are some complicated positions, so I want to give it its fair time. Okay, let's think about this position. What do we have? Seems like chaos with this pawn, like right down knight road. What else do we have? 3 pieces, 3 minor pieces for 3 minor pieces. As for the rooks, I got 2. He's got 2. I have queen. He has a queen. It's always nice to have a queen when your opponent has a queen, because if not, you are almost always losing for sure. What do we have here? Okay, so right now I'm noticing a lot of dynamic possibilities. I can capture here. I can capture here. Those are the captures. Checks, not so many. Threats. Okay, captures, I guess this is also a capture, but you can just throw that out. That's pretty dumb. You just take it back. Threats, I guess this is a threat to attack this bishop, but it seems a little bit suspect. I'm not sure. I could threaten this bishop with knight moves here, but it's like a pseudo threat. It's already defended, and I don't really see the big deal. Not to mention I'm also giving up this pawn for no reason, so let's just get rid of these. That should be it, I think. Yeah, I didn't really see any other threats. So it's really just one of these 2 moves. And I really won't even be considering this one because we're already attacking this piece. I don't really see what's really achieved by moving this pawn. You only avoid maybe him taking with check. Okay, so what do we see in terms of material? I think this is 6 pawns for me to 6 pawns for him. It's equal material, so I can take this and I'd just be up a clean pawn, no problems. And that is a tempting choice, I would say. So I definitely keep it in my my bag. Could definitely pull it out if I find this. You know, this is the move that I'm immediately drawn to. Let's win a piece if we can. But if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work, and we should go for the safer option, in which we are still definitely better coming out of it because we're up a pawn. And I don't see any immediate blow he can just, you know, destroy me with. I will say though, if I do take here, he has to move the bishop, but then perhaps like this pawn is weak later on. There's also some ideas of knight jump in here, so maybe he can get away with it. And it's not like I've just like destroyed him or made use of the opportunity. And I think this is one of those positions where if you give him a chance, he definitely has his play. So let's go right to this one. What can I see? The only reason I'd be scared of it is if he can do something immediately, like takes, or some rook infiltration, or some knight move that brings his queen into the attack. But I'm not convinced. This knight capture never works because I take with check. What else does he have? Takes. Really, like maybe this move, perhaps. But I think I can take with the knight and centralize it. It becomes a super knight. There's no such thing as a super knight. A knight is a knight, but this guy here is worth a ton. Like, he's invaluable to my position. Yeah, I think that's kind of it. Really, I mean, if he takes, the point is I think I should be careful and not take back, because then you can play e5 with check, unleashing this bishop on my king, and then I have to move the king, and then he can shove this pawn down my throat, and I would feel very uncomfortable with. Not only is it a passed pawn with nothing in its way, but it is also defended by this guy. So I'm going to take this, and then once it takes back, I'm going to just sidestep and say, okay, you achieved what you wanted. You got a pawn staring down my throat, but it's actually a good defensive piece for me. Like, it helps me protect the area around my king because it's like a shelter from anything visco. So he can't like come with the queen and checkmate me. So let's do it. Let's do it. I don't see a reason not to. And here we just have to give thought. Like, should we take it or not? I'm pretty convinced that taking. Anyway, these are only considerations because I cannot go this way because of this rook. So it's either captures or sidestep, and captures I already said would be suicidal in this position, I think. So I'm gonna go this way. And okay, cool, got it right. In this case, yeah, just a case where you gotta seize the bull by the horns and take, you might see an opponent give you a chance to take something, but then you might shy away, say I have a safer choice, and you might go towards it, say, okay, like, why take the risk? But no risk, no gain, yeah? So I think in this position, you have to take the risk and take this piece. What if we just took here? My hunch is that you might have a slight advantage, but it's probably nothing decisive. Maybe like -1 on this thing. No, apparently it's just losing for me, so this was totally a misjudgment. Okay, Moritz thinking it's coming back to equality, but yeah, I mean, basically, like, what do I have to show in this position, right? I have a pawn, but this pawn is weak, and so it's not even really felt. Additionally, my square is so weak right here. His knight is so poised to get right there, and my king is super, like, weak because these pawns are just, yeah, they're not in the ideal squares. You want them to be one square back to protect my king. So yeah, in general, this is it's natural to see that, like, even though up a pawn, you're not really getting anything out of this position. Yeah, let me know how you guys did this one. I was definitely tempted by this one. I was kind of like, okay, let's take this pawn, and maybe you can keep it as an option, as a safe option, but yeah, clearly it's not working out. So glad we got it right in the end. Cool, let's go on to the next one. I maybe have like a few more in me, like a couple more. It's getting a bit late here in the States where I'm at, United States. And so, yeah, I'm going to wrap up after maybe 1 or 2 more. Definitely want to end on a positive note and get the last one right. You never want to leave on a mischance. Like, I'm a basketball player and I never ever leave the court on a missed shot. It's just, I don't know, it'll give me nightmares, I feel, if you leave on a missed shot. You have to get it right, so you can just go home on a good note and just, yeah, mentally be in the right place. But I'm gonna do 1 or 2 more, but if I get one wrong, you might see me try to rage through another one. We'll see. But I'm definitely pretty happy with where my rating is. It's for the amount of time I'm spending, yeah, I would expect it to be about this high. I'm about a 2100 rated player over the board, but for spending so much time in a position, I think it's natural that you would expect a slightly higher quality of play. So this position, let's go to it. I got 3 minor pieces to 3 minor pieces for my opponent. The rooks are equal, same here as well, and 6 pawns to 6 pawns. So not much, not anything in terms of material balance. I will say in this position, he is very, very, very vulnerable right now. And the reason I'll say that is because he just pushed this pawn. This diagonal is not yet fortified by a bishop. Thanks. I hope these are wise statements. I don't know what exactly you're referring to, but I'm glad that you think I'm wise. Okay, let's take a look. So, like I said, this bishop here is not fortifying this diagonal, and all the other stuff in the position, right? This bishop is super loose right now. He can be targeted immediately with that. So that's immediately what I'm drawn to. There are stunningly, it might be the only position I've ever seen today where there's no captures and there's also no checks. Oh, sorry, I should be quicker to think about this. There is a check, but you can quickly rule it out because you can just take it back. Okay, so what do we got here? We got really, I mean, a couple moves of, man, these songs keep showing up, right? I keep thinking it's Calvin Harris, but all these songs are by Harris Heller. This is like the 4th song in a row, maybe? No, okay. Maybe like 3 out of the last 6 are by this guy. I've never heard of him, but yeah, I do like the vibe. It's got that like techno vibe going on. In my high school, I used to compete in the chess club, but it was more like, I don't know, it was like a really fun scene. There was loud music playing all the time, and there would be like tons and tons of candy. The coach who ran the club would bring out candy like non-stop at a furious pace to everyone, and there'd be so many music. There'd be like 100 people packed into one room, one classroom, just playing chess, like on the floor, on tables, in the hallway. Like such a cool vibe. It's really cool to see chess bringing together so many people. I don't think it would fly today with the whole like social distancing stuff. It would be an immense hazard, but definitely at the time, like super cool stuff. Yeah, definitely one of the most fun times of my life. One of my best memories of chess. I spent a lot of time in college playing chess. Sorry, in high school, and yeah, we went back to back league champions in the league that I played in, and I had like a couple of nemesis in that league that it was pretty fun. Like in the last year, I worked a lot on my game, and I was able to finally beat some of these guys after losing to them like nonstop for 3 years. So pretty exciting stuff, and a lot of good memories from high school chess club. But okay, without sounding like an old man for too long, let's go right into this position. Like I said, this is the move that really screams to me. Other moves with threats include knight here, attacking this queen, as well as the pawn here. And I think that's all the threats I see in the position. You can also go like this to attack this bishop, but she can just take my queen, so I will just get rid of this one immediately. H3 doesn't really feel like it's in the spirit of the position. It feels like it lets something loose. He can just take and then take, and he can now fortify this diagonal with tempo. So let's take this one off the radar. And so basically we're down to 2 moves. Well, I guess I should say there's a third one. Wow, this song is so apt for this. This is called The Last Known Position, and there's a chance that this might be the last position that I consider for today. So I don't know if this is like Pretzel Rocks being some kind of divine guesser, but okay. Wow, that definitely was some glitch in the matrix moment right there when I saw that. But okay, like I said, the last move to consider is bishop here attacking this, but it's not working because he can just take it. So let's remove this one. I think I might not have mentioned this one, but it kind of just went into my mind and went out immediately because he can just capture this one. So not going to consider that one. Okay, so 2 moves really. Let's consider the queen move first, I would say, because it's so forcing. It's Pretzel Rocks. Yeah, I agree. It knows. But okay, so in this position he can capture. I think that's the only sensible move, right? If he moves this rook, or if he does some f6 type move to block this diagonal, I just win this bishop. So yeah, he'd be a goner if I did that, and he responded with some passive move. But he can capture this, and if I take back, gives him a split second to defend, and he's also destroyed my king structure over there. But I think that queen here, followed by takes. I don't take this guy back, but I take his rook. And now I'm off in exchange. He can maybe destroy my shelter more, but he's not going to mate me because the only remaining attacking piece is this queen. So that's that. What else can I do? Queen here. If he takes, I take. And then he castles. This is interesting. So now I'm in a bit of a pickle, right? Because he can maybe start to try to bring this bishop in with a tempo because he's attacking my queen with the rook that he has brought into the game. But don't forget that his bishop here is also being attacked by my pawn. So I know it's hard to visualize all this. Sorry, I might not have vocalize this, but it is really hard to do a tactics section on live stream because it's hard to show all of the variations without drawing 100 million arrows. And I really wish to have like a second board where I can draw the variations that I'm considering. But in reality, the reason I'm not doing that is because for my own learning, you can't really just like have a second board and do all the moves on that board when you're actually playing. So I think it would actually hurt my training if I were to have a second board on the side where I made all the moves and could visualize the exact position that resulted as a result of a variation that I considered. But yeah, in this position, sorry for the tangent, but queen here, bishop takes, queen takes. My point is this bishop is hanging, so he has to do something about it immediately. If he trades a bunch of pieces here, I'm very, very happy because that's fewer attacking pieces I gotta worry about. If he drops back, I can move my queen back, and he is not really quick to get an attack going. So I am basically ready to pull the trigger. Only thing we should consider is there something that this is just crushing immediately? I don't see it right off the bat. He might even have some opportunity to, yeah, just move the queen somewhere, and I don't really see the decisive play, so let's go for it. Okay, so I take this rook, and that's the end of the puzzle. Cool. 2250. Should we go for it? What do you think? Should we end on 2247, or should we go for the 2250 all in? Let's see. Mindful Vortex. I was maybe asking Pretzel Rocks for an omniscient sign to send to me. Maybe he would say like, stick it out or keep going or something. I don't know. That sounds like some EDM songs, but yeah, it didn't. So Mindful Vortex. What does that mean? Maybe I gotta put my mind in to the vortex that is gonna be the next position. I don't know. That's a reach, but it's been a long day, so let's see. Okay, so in this one, I got an endgame on board, just a pair of rooks and a pair of minor pieces, and I'm down a pawn. King safety, this dude is like really trying to walk a tightrope, this king. He's going super far out, and a lot of squares taken away. He can go here, right now, here, or here, or here, but not these guys. So what else do I see? Maybe I don't see. There's enough squares that I don't feel like I'm mating him immediately. But what is this? Is this like a really silly tactic? Okay, basically my mind is immediately drawn to this, and I'm attacking this bishop as well as this king, and I don't see a way that he can defend them both. It seems like I'm just winning with that, but okay, maybe it's not so simple. Okay, let's just go through our process. Yeah, checks, captures, and threats. So checks first. This is a check, and this is a check, and sorry, knights don't move like that. Knights move like this. You can help. Okay, so let's rule out this one. This is just losing a piece immediately, because he can just take it. Knight here, I don't see it. He just takes it, I take back, and what have we done? We've gotten rid of the knight and bishop for nothing, and now we just are playing a rook versus a rook with 3 pawns versus 2, and this pawn is also weak, so I don't really see it. Not happening. Not happening. Nothing else. Yeah, nothing else really screaming to be played. F4 is just some nonsense move. It might be seen as some aggressive move, but you can just take it like with everything. You can take it this way, this way, this way, this way, and yeah, I don't really see it. It's also weakening my own king. This is one of those cases where all-in is not a good idea, but I think this is just decisive, yeah? I mean, let's calculate it. Rook here. The only thing that might be in the air is he moves the king, and I capture this bishop, and then he somehow pins me. So I can't move this knight. I'm basically paralyzed for a split second. But I feel I have enough counterplay with this pawn moving down the board. He also can't even challenge my my rook, because this square is covered. So, yeah, I'm not seeing it. Let's just do it. And if I get it right, let's just say this will be my last one. So, let's see. Cross our fingers. Okay, what's this? Some of these tactics may be very annoying, and it's like, you play a move that's really good, and then it's not the best move in the position, and it feels really bad to lose out on it. So immediately drawn to this, but there's a chance that maybe he can take here and somehow salvage the position with 3 pawns to 1. So what are the other moves to consider here? Checks. So this check again is Selene just takes it, and I'm losing 100%. Captures, we already talked about this. That's the main move to consider. This is a check, but he just takes here, and I haven't accomplished anything. Rook check here is not working. He just takes it with anything he really wants. Pick your poison. Yeah, okay. I think very attracted to this knight move here because it protects this pawn and it gives check. And I can take this bishop on the next move. So, yeah, somehow I feel like this is the idea. And let's grab here. And I think it'll say it's good, and maybe I'll end up at 2260 is my guess. Let's take a look. 2288? Oh man, this is one of those puzzles that's stumped a lot of people because of this like last finesse. You know, this is like very finesse. Where yeah, like you give this check and you're thinking I can win this piece. And for people that spend a bunch of time thinking about this position, you might see it like I did. But if you're just playing quickly like tactics in a rush, you're definitely gonna miss it. Yeah, one of those that's unfortunate tactics. But hey, I mean, you might not be winning this endgame if you take here. So always good to think about these finesses. Yeah, look, you're winning, but you're not fully winning. You know, 3 pawns to 1. It's hard to win. It's hard to win. So I would say this is one of those positions that, yeah, we really should see this finesse. And with it, like no question about it, you're winning this position. Let's just take a quick look. What if you went here to try to win this pawn? I think it's really hard to salvage. You might win this pawn, sure, but I think you're getting really hurt because this pawn is super far. The one thing I will say is there's a threat. Black has a threat of giving a checkmate, so it's not curtains just yet, but you can deal with it in many ways. And I think, let's just take a look at one of them. I think there's many ways to deal with it, so no need to consider it all. You're moving away and you might say, oh my god, you're running into this checkmate exactly that we talked about, but you're giving a check at the same time. So he has to move the king, and he's flushed away. So now you don't have this checkmate to worry about, and you can just win this pawn if you want to, or push your pawn to the promised land and make it a queen. So this is one that I think was cute, cute tactic, cute finesse. Maybe not so cute for all the people that got it wrong, that made this a 2300 level puzzle. But pretty good end to the day. I went, I went 11 and 1 on the day, so pretty good. The one that I got wrong was very messy, and yeah, definitely a lot of stuff going on that I missed. But all in all, like a great session. And yeah, it was a huge jump, like you say. So pretty happy with where I ended up. Definitely it's about the process more than the end rating, I think. So I learned a lot from these puzzles, and I hope you were able to follow along with some of them as well. And tactics session is going to be one of the ones kind of like the go-tos, right? Like I said, tactics are a key part of the game, so I'm going to be working on them a lot. I do have a lot of other really fun techniques that I'm going to be using in the future as well. Tactics is one of the areas that I want to improve. There's other ways to improve tactics other than just the tactics sessions here. I'll do some tactics, I guess like fast sessions. I'll also do some blindfold chess, which is really going to help with understanding the visualization of the pieces. Blindfold is super fun. If you've not heard of it, basically you cannot see the board. This board is empty for me. I can't see what's on the board, and I'm just gonna have to play off of my feeling of where the pieces are. So super fun. Have a lot more cool techniques that I'm going to be sharing with all of you in the future. So if you like the techniques that you saw here today, and you like the concept of generally trying to get better at chess, and for whatever reason you're invested in my journey and my growth as a chess player, or you want to grow as a chess player yourself, definitely follow me on my channel here at Twitch, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel. My handle is PlayLionChess, basically everywhere. So if you like what you see, check out more of my content, and you can expect more from in the coming weeks. And also better equipment. I'm pretty excited to say I have some pretty sick hardware coming in. Hardware in the sense that it's like video and audio equipment, not like hardware like trophies, because that's still far way off. I gotta get a lot better, but some sick hardware. My setup is going to be pretty dope. You can check me out on Instagram and Twitter. I might post some of my setup photos and stuff if you want to give it a check out. If you're a streamer yourself and you're just kind of geek for these streaming related things, definitely do give me a check out, and I'm going to be sharing my setup with you as well. So pretty excited for the road ahead, and pretty happy with how today's session went. So with that, I'm gonna sign off, and yeah, thanks for a great day. Thanks for showing up, and thanks for hitting me up today. Peace. So don't call me a moron, I'm super astute. There is no conundrum that my core cannot